Okay, and we are go, go, go. And today, on another conversation with me, Paul Webb from www.paulwebbacademy.com and my Facebook group, Clarity Creates Change, the skill of simplicity. I'm absolutely amped to have someone with me today who I've known now for 4 or 5 years, Sean.
Yeah, probably about 5 years ago.
Probably about 5 years now, wow. And just to give you an idea of how we met, at the time, I ran my own facility and I was doing work with the Tessa Sanderson Foundation. Now, Tessa, as some of you may remember, won Olympic gold medal in the javelin in Los Angeles in 1984. And through her charity, her foundation, she brings elite coaching to all sorts of different athletes, but predominantly in the track and field genre. And I met her through an acquaintance, and we started to work together. I started to write exercise programs and started to train some of her track and her field athletes at my facility. And she asked me one day if I had any experience in training disabled athletes. And as it happened, I hadn't. She asked me if I'd be willing to do so. And I said, of course, yeah. And it did take a lot of thought, a lot of preparation, a lot of sort of flying by the seat of the pants. But about 5 years ago, Sean came into the facility and we had a chat about what we could and couldn't do. And then we just went from there. And what became apparent very, very quickly was that Sean wasn't going to let his accident, his disability, get in the way of training, of moving forward, of achieving goals that he'd set for himself and others that were to come further down the line. And it became an inspiration, not just to me, someone that got to know him very well and happily calls him a friend, but also everyone else that trained at the facility. And it was a really good time in my life, working at a time when you get to a situation where you train people and they're all kind of got the same situation, the same issues, and they're looking for the same thing. To have someone radically different in there really gave everyone a lift as to what was achievable and what was possible. And that's enough for me, I guess, talking. So let's introduce you to Sean Saul, fellow Chelsea fan. So if we go off on that tangent, you'll have to forgive us. And Sean, delighted, mate, to have you with us today.
Likewise, thanks for having me, man. I mean, yeah, I've worked with Paul. I think 5 years ago we done some work together. I was getting ready for, I think it was 2012?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Olympic Games, and really with injury, so I couldn't sort of make it to the games. But I mean,
we got close, right? We were in there. We was there for a moment.
We got real close, and I learned so much with Paul. I got some real good gains and stuff, and I'll just give you a little bit of my backstory. In May 1999, I had a motorbike accident, caused spinal cord injury, which left me unable to walk. I now rely on a wheelchair day to day. So from 99 till now, it's been pretty interesting. I discovered myself quite a bit during that time. In terms of training, I think it's what's helped me deal with my situation.
Were you, sorry, Sean, to interrupt, were you training before the accident?
I was training before the accident. I used to lift weights quite heavily. I was really into sort of bodybuilding and stuff, and I think I wanted to continue. I know it would be difficult. It has been difficult, but I think the type of person I am, I've been able to adapt. Even with yourself, we came into your facility and we was able to mock up so many things in order to sort of reach the desired effect. So I mean, that was sort of like, that was me. I mean, I was, I wanted to continue training. Yeah, I love training. That's what I do. And I started, I started competing around about 2005. I went into a gym just to do some fitness stuff, some weights and stuff, and got approached by someone who runs a place called the Royal Ducks Rowing Club over in East London, there by the City Airport. And he approached me and asked me if I'd like to train, doing a bit of rowing. I thought, give it a bash. It became a competitive quite soon on after that. I think I just missed out on the 2005 World Championships, and then I got through to the 2006 World Championships. Medaled, actually, got a bronze medal for that. From there, I kind of veered away from rowing and started throwing, shot put and javelin, and this is where I met yourself, Paul. We trained, we've done some real hard training in the gym there, I'd got some good gains, I probably had one of my best seasons actually in the build up to the 2012 Paralympics, and just had some problems with my back, but I didn't allow that to stop me. So even though I had problems with my back, I spent 6 months in hospital, I believe, in 2012 through to 2013. And even when I was in hospital, I decided that I was still competitive. I didn't lose my competitive.
No.
So I continued. I was in training in hospital. I was doing like loads of fitness stuff, loads of pushing. I had
because I remember you kept posting up your routes you were traversing through Victoria Park, right? Yeah.
I've got really into the sort of fitness side of fitness, of training, and I lost probably 5 stone in the. I mean, it wasn't like I felt like I was massively overweight, but I was a lot bigger than I am now, and for throwing, it's what I thought was needed. Even though I feel like I'll be better throwing now, being a lot more sort of lighter and quicker and a bit more agile. But I started doing loads of fitness work and decided to kind of explore training people. One of the difficult things for me is to sort of be seen as an inspiration, because what I do, I see it as stuff that I do day to day. When I do sort of take a step back from myself and look at what people might see, then I can probably see what they see in terms of, drive and determination and commitment, and just sort of a get up and go. And I think just sort of based on how I was before the accident, it was just a crossover, really. So for me to sort of do what I do day to day is normal to me, but for people that find it hard to get up and do stuff for themselves, I can probably see where I can help. So I kind of thought to myself, I imagined how difficult it would be if I was somebody that wasn't driven, and how hard it would be to sort of deal with the fact of paralysis, and so I thought, I'd like to kind of help people like myself, and even able-bodied people that are struggling to sort of reach their goals or try and get themselves up and about and do stuff. And this is kind of where I am now. Again, when I say that you and I mocked stuff up in the gym to kind of get the work done, now that's me. I'm pretty hardcore. I'll do anything. I can train out in the dirt somewhere in the field, and but I know that everyone's not like me, and what I envision, whether it will happen or not, but I'm going to knock on a few doors to try and make it happen, is like an accessible facility. When I say accessible facility, not something that just ticks the box and you can wheel in and sort of wheel out and you can go into a shower room or something. I'm talking about a wider range of equipment that people can use independently. And I think the last thing you want, like for me, I've got an acquired disability, and you want independence. You want to be seen as somebody that can do for themselves. And I know that you can go into a gym and you can use everything by yourself with no one else. The only problem is that can happen in 5 or 6 gyms. It can't happen in one gym. And Yeah, this is what I envision for the future. You know, I've spoke with various people about it. They love the idea. I don't know if they love the idea because they see it as something sort of morally correct and it should be in place. And, you know, I don't even know if they think, oh, look, you know, he's trying to do something, a little pat on the back. But this is something I'm quite passionate about. And I'm going to try and make happen, man. I don't know. Did I answer what you said?
Yeah, for sure. It's fascinating. It's great to see your. I use the word evolution.
Yeah.
Right. Because obviously you find yourself on one path and you think you've got it all sussed, you've got it nailed, and then something happens and you're forced to go down a different path. And I think that we have whereas your evolution is more graphic than most. I think we all get to points in our life where we're faced with choices, where we're faced with evolution. And if we decide to make the choice to go on a path, that's great. But if we don't, you generally find in life things come along and force you down a certain way. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, definitely, man. It was, it was a big thing, you know, and I spent sort of years trying to reinvent myself, trying to rediscover myself and like, you know, kind of think what I wanted to do. I was, like I said, I was heavily into bodybuilding at the time of my accident. I was a doorman, you know, I wanted to kind of go into some personal bodyguarding, some sort of personal security stuff. And obviously, you know, that's going to be a huge shift from where I was. I cannot do that work. So, you know, I kind of thought to myself, wow, this is a big one, you know, as much as having to deal with, you know, this new challenge that's been thrown up against me. I've also got to sort of rediscover what I want to do with my life. And straight from my accident, I continued training, and then I decided I really wanted to challenge myself. And I sometimes think it's half to do with the fact of you want to be accepted. So I started to, I took a degree in psychology, totally well against the grain of what I used to do. But I wanted to prove to myself that if I put my mind to anything, I can do anything. So I done that.
Was that really important to you at the time?
It was important to me because I think I was doing some soul searching, man.
Right, yeah.
Where I was going to go, what direction I was going to go, you know. So I decided to take up a degree in psychology. Loved it. Didn't want to become a psychologist. Yeah, I just found off the back of studying psychology, I noticed I had a talent for writing. I had this ability to write, something I never give myself a chance to explore before my accident. And started writing poetry. And again, I think another thing to sort of overcome this new life that was presented to me, you know, being disabled. I wanted to get on stage,
right,
and I wanted to kind of inadvertently share my story through my poetry, and it kind of, I don't know, maybe gave me confidence because, you know, the bigger the crowd, the more I would buzz off of performing in front of them. So I just wanted to kind of challenge myself. I wanted to get over any fears that I thought I might have, you know, overcome any obstacles. And I think it's what drives me today, you know, like every day I train, you know, I go with a goal in mind. I've always got to be better than myself. I've always got to, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because are you ever happy? It gets me out of bed every morning, you know, it gets me kind of motivated and geared up to do my thing. And again, in terms of sort of reinventing myself in the soul search, I think I've come to a good place now because I've got married June 2014. Nearly forgot that date there.
Yeah, that's good. Don't let the wife watch it, Sean.
Yeah, it's never a good thing. But yeah, you know, I got married, and I think I'm a lot more relaxed, a lot more settled,
right,
and in a good place as to where I need to be.
I think a couple of things that strike out from that is firstly, Sean is being extremely modest. I've been with Sean on stage in a charity event in front of all his peers, 300 or so athletes preparing for the 2012 Olympics, and Sean came on stage and did some of his poetry and blew the room away. It was an incredible performance. So when Sean says, it gave him a little bit of confidence, it gave me confidence. And it was, as I say, an amazing experience. And also, you make a point, a really, really important and valuable point is you see things that you do as normal. You see things that you do as, why are people being inspired by this? And I think a lot of the time, the things we take for granted are the things that a lot of people are struggling with. And it doesn't matter where we are on our journey, there's always people below us. And if we can show them and lead them, meet them where they are and say, we've been here and these are the steps we took and this is what we do to get ourselves away from there. People love that. People need that. People need to be led like that. And I think sometimes we certainly underestimate what we do in those terms.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I kind of get it. Well, I do get it because I hear you speaking about it. I hear people speaking about it. And I sometimes have to sort of pitch myself and say, okay, this is what people are saying and why they're saying it. Because I think there was a long part of me just thinking to myself, are people sort of being patronizing? They're trying to say the right thing, are they trying to sort of themselves feel comfortable around me? And there's an element of that. But I mean, as time's gone on, I think, you do, if you have something, I think it's important to recognize that. I don't think it's important to, brag about it and let it sort of go to your head if you have got something that helps somebody else. But I think it is important to recognize it sometimes because, at times you could probably undervalue yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
Yourself, so yeah, I suppose from that.
And especially, I can see that how you could think that people are being slightly patronising and almost want to be politically correct.
Very difficult because that is a lot of people because they're like, shit, what do I say? What do I do?
Yeah.
How do I act? Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's only until, like yourself, you get to know me and, we can have a conversation and we can be in each other's company. We can laugh, we can joke. You can see, what's this? If I did have any sort of connotation, why? Because this guy's quite easygoing. He's not. You can talk to him. He's not going to sort of just, I don't know, flip out or get upset at the drop of a hat if something's said out of turn. So I suppose it's down to the individual, really, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, again, just going off on a really small tangent. 5 years ago, my children, Lucas, he was 4, he was 5, something like that, and Eva was a baby, right? She was 1, 2, and for Lucas to meet you, and not quite understand why you were in a wheelchair, not quite understand the backstory, but see you just do what you do, and have that relationship with you is such a good thing because he'll go up to anyone. It doesn't matter now. Right. And he'll see way beyond, the physical. He'll see way beyond the disability. There's one there. And just talk to, and you can see some of these people who may be having issues with this particular thing just light up because here's a kid of 10 who's just like got up to them, talked to them like he's talking to anyone.
Yes.
And I think that's one of my first memories. Do you remember when you were showing Lucas things of you throwing on your iPad?
Yes.
And he was just blown away.
Yeah. Well, this is what I mean. I think it's about grassroots, isn't it? It's about kind of getting people early because I think the later it goes and the more we become set in our ways, it's really hard to sort of change that level of thinking. But, your son, where he was really young and he was exposed and, he saw it as nothing that was taboo. It was just something, and they're still learning at that young age.
Yeah, cool. And kids are kids, aren't they? They'll say what they want. They couldn't care less. And Lucas, like, what you in a chair for?
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. And it's good to have that level of conversation with. But when other people, adults who should know better, kind of just skirt around the issue, and it's not even mentioned, right?
That's right. Yeah. But I mean, this is again like this is why I want to kind of, you know, hopefully one day kind of, you know, have this facility where it's interactive, you know, where you can sort of be amongst people and know that, like, because I think there's a big sort of health implication in the society with, you know, with people with disabilities, because if they don't feel accepted in society, they're not going to go out, and they're not going to sort of get in a gym, and they're not going to want to get fit, and they're not want to get active because they don't feel a part of something, you know. And I think it's important to try and create that environment, you know, like, and I think I can kind of mesh the two together, you know.
I think again that's an incredible point. You know, you let's look at more of the sort of clients that I would deal with, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the majority of people come along for some form of transformation.
Yes.
Fair to say. And they've got these stories going around that tell them who they are and where they should be in life, and they may be aware of them more likely than not. And they have problems going to a gym. You know, they feel so self-conscious about their situation, and these are able-bodied, what you'd class as normal people.
Yes.
You throw a disability on top of that,
yes.
and then you've got a huge, you know, part of society that have this issue where they're probably, some of them aren't even going out of the house.
No, this is the thing. This is the thing. It's a huge conundrum to try and deal with, you know. And I went, you know, in my goal to become sort of personal trainer, I went on this instructor course called Instructability that kind of works with people with impairments that wanted to get into the fitness industry. You had brain injuries, you had leg amps, you had arm amps, you had brain injury, you had spinal cord injury, wheelchair users, you had cerebral palsy, you had all sorts, you know. And my thing is, if there's a few of those in a gym instructing people, as well as able-bodied people, as well as able-bodied fitness instructors and personal trainers in a gym, kind of showing people the way around and how to do things and stuff, you know, you're not going to feel a little bit comfortable. I think not the last thing, but one of the things that's going to kind of throw somebody off is, you know, you go into a gym and you got this sort of aesthetically pleasing sort of standing in front of you with the perfect chiseled physique, you know, and automatically you're going to feel intimidated. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, you want to see somebody who's a bit of a mess training you because you're going to feel comfortable about yourself, but just somebody who has an understanding, you know, sort of disability awareness training or something, you know. And again, you know, a disabled and a personal trainer that has some sort of an impairment, you know, that doesn't sort of suggest that they can't do their job because they have that. So I'm thinking, you know, if people saw people a little bit like them in a gym, then they might feel comfortable to go. That's just one thing I thought. I mean, there's probably loads that I need to sort of look into.
Yeah, well, you hit upon a really good point. In you look at today's social media kind of life, where it seems you can't look in your feed of any, especially Instagram, without seeing photographs of someone's six pack, their biceps, the food they've prepared for 7 days in Tupperware boxes, and then they expect people who can't do that, who aren't in that position, who haven't got six-pack abs, who haven't got peaks to their biceps, who have, or certainly aren't preparing Tupperware meals,
Yes.
And they expect them to come on board with that, and that's so far away from you know, these images, these thoughts are so far away from where people are. And yet these trainers, these people that are kind of charged with changing these people's lives, they're just not meeting them anywhere near to where these people are, where they feel they are. And that's creating this discord. And of course people are going to fail. Of course people are going to sabotage their training or their diet, because it's just an impossible image to look up to and to be. And I think you're right. And this is why I never had a problem if a trainer is a little bit overweight or isn't in the best of physical shape. But it depends entirely on what they can do for their client, right?
Yeah. Does it affect their ability to do their job?
Yeah.
You know, this is where I've been sort of over the last few years trying to sort of work out in my mind the best route to take, because, you know, one of the hardest things with disability, you're gonna have some sort of like deformity within your body and how you look, because muscles are not working like they used to. Like I can only speak from experience of myself and people like myself with a spinal cord injury, paralysis. You know, where depending on your level of injury, is going to affect the look of your muscle wherever the area is affected. You know, so you're going to have people that are looking sort of how they don't want to look, and it's really difficult. And you know, it's this whole thing of like, are people going to accept me? And I think you're gonna, you know, I think there's a huge impact on the NHS system, you know, and the you know, the current standing with finances of the country. And I think, you know, if something's put in place to kind of get these people out of there, I mean, it's probably a debate that's just goes on forever anyway with able-bodied anyway. But I mean, you know, if there's a way to kind of ease that stress and tension on the NHS, then I kind of want to help. I think I can anyway, and I'm passionate about it as well. You know, it's something.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Actually, what do you see you doing next, Sean? Where does this journey take you, and what do you see happening along that journey?
Yeah, I see kind of again creating this environment for people like myself and people like yourself to kind of get together and work together, and you know, to reach that desired outcome. You know, it's not even sort of an aesthetic thing; it's a health thing. You know, like,
yeah.
I've you know, I've noticed a change in myself over the last 4 or 5 years. You know, and I'm maybe a bit obsessed with it all. But that's kind of
that's you. That's you.
It's what drives me, you know, and I do think a lot about food now and sort of how it will affect me later on in life. And, you know, I do have all these thoughts. You know, I want to start a family with my wife soon, you know, and I think about bringing a kid into the world and, you know, what are they going to be exposed to? And, you know, things that I grew up doing that I see as not sort of great. And, you know, like when I say doing, I mean eating, and sort of just how I sort of went about my day to day for a huge part of my life. And I want to make that change, you know. So this is something that I want for, you know, kids who have got acquired disabilities. You know, they're starting their journey in life, you know, with a disability. And it's going to be hard anyway, you know, but it's even more so like that when you're sedentary. And it's almost like you've got this life mapped out for you where you don't really have to do much as a disabled person. You know, there's these benefits in place where they kind of, you know, well, I don't want to sound too sort of like, you know, because I know there's been this problem with people with disability and the government sort of taking like loads of money away. But, you know, I think on one hand, I don't know how this is going to sound, but on one hand, if you can do it, then maybe you should get up and do it. But I think there are many that can do it. But this whole safe environment has been created for them that there's no get up and go, there's no drive, you know. And yeah, I think I'd like to sort of help along with that and show people that there is get up and go and there is drive. And, you know, you don't have to sort of fulfill a stereotype, people's expectation of you, you know, show them your worth, you know.
As we said earlier,
self your worth. You know?
Yeah, we always have that choice, right? It doesn't matter how bad your life is or seem. There's still choices, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've got some health issues now, you know, and that are kind of hindering me as to in terms of like, you know, my progression and where I'd like to be. But I'm not sort of sitting down at home saying, "Oh shit, this is my situation," like, and dwelling. I train. You know, that for me, if I can't train, then I'm probably not whole.
Right.
And I know that's a unique thing that you have, that I have, that we need to train, but it's not necessarily something that the everyday person has. But you know, anything. But
the everyday person will have a passion. They will have interest. They will have loves, right? And you can latch on those as well as we can latch onto the physical, the training.
Of course, yeah. So I mean, like in terms of just health and fitness, you know, anything that I can do, you know, in order to kind of help somebody, you know, better their day.
Mm.
Is kind of my plan. So I suppose overall, I do want a facility that sort of caters to people's needs, like myself, and you know, not exclusive, because so it's not exclusive just to people with disability, because I want something inclusive. So I want people to get together and mix.
Mm. I think that's vital, right? That's very important.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I look forward to coming and training in your facility.
Oh man, I'd like it to happen. I would like it to happen, you know.
And I'm sure, knowing you and your desire to make things happen, I'm sure that's just set in stone. I don't think there's any doubt, you know, in my mind that will happen.
Yeah. Just got to do the groundwork, man.
Yeah.
I'm doing this time management thing at the minute that I'm really enjoying.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, where I'm kind of sort of getting up really early, getting my training out of the way really early, so I have my whole day to sort of plan and do all these, you know, positive things that I want to do, you know. So I think if I leave training a bit later on in the day, then everything just it always depends on when I train as to sort of how much I'll get done.
Yeah, I think that's right for most people that train, right? If you leave it till later in the day, it's always in the back of your mind. You're not really as productive. If you do it early, you're ready to go and take on the world, right?
Time management, man. That's the thing, time management.
Well, we're quickly running out of time. As I say, I wanted to keep these conversations to about half an hour or so, and we've already gone through that. And
I hope we got everything in for.
Well, look, we've got more than what I hoped for, Sean. You've been absolutely amazing, and as I say, there's no reason why at some point we can't do another one. You know, these are just conversations. They're not designed for any way other than that. But just before we go, if people want to, you know, see what you do and watch your training, look at your videos, where's the best place for people to come across you, man?
I have a YouTube page, Life After Me, Sean Saul. That's my YouTube page. Facebook page, even though I'm kind of having a week off of Facebook. Yeah, I'm just doing this
detox.
I'm doing a little detox thing, man. Just 1 week off Facebook.
You finding it tough?
Well, you know what? No. You see, we started yesterday. I'm quite good, actually. I'm doing all right. But I mean, you know, I think we spend a lot of time. Sometimes we can spend a lot of time sort of looking at so much things that people are doing and forget our own things. And you sometimes just got to take a step back. And this is what I've done. You know, just a small, and you know, see that I'm not addicted to the thing as well. You know, like
well, of course, yeah.
So yeah, no. But they can catch me on my name. It's Sean Saul on Facebook, SEWELL, and also I've got a Facebook page, Life After Me again.
Okay, right. That's great. Well, when I post this up, I'll put the links to those in for you, cool. And I'm sure that people will come along, have a look, and see the great stuff that you're doing, man. But thanks once again for joining me, and hopefully we can do it again soon.
We'll catch up soon, my man.
Cheers, man.